So lately I've noticed, mostly on social media, that there's a lot of Christians out there arguing that Christmas is wrong. And as Christians, they're not gonna participate in this sinful holiday. Wait, what? True story, bro. So in this video, I wanna cover 3 of the main reasons that seem to continuously come up for this argument. And then I wanna talk about 5 reasons as to why, as a Christian, you definitely should consider celebrating Christmas. Life is getting confusing, man. Like, the atheists are mad at the Christians because there's God in the church, and now the Christians are mad at the Christians because there's no God in Christmas. It's ridiculous. I don't understand anymore. There's a lot of negative peeps out there. Just saying. All right, hey, welcome to the video. If you haven't seen any of these videos before, my name is Chris, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. 2 things. First of all, if you're wondering what's going on up here, I'm working on this room and that ceiling right now. That's actually, that's major progress. So there's that. And 2, as a disclaimer, this video is not to try and tell you that you must celebrate Christmas as a Christian. Not at all. However, it is meant to tell you that I don't think it's a sin, and I don't think you should avoid it or feel guilty about it if you so choose to celebrate Christmas. So the first argument we often hear from Christians as to why you shouldn't celebrate Christmas is the fact that it's a commercial holiday. Pump's going, kind of cold up. Hey, I was just thinking, doesn't Christmas seem like it's becoming a sham? Like nothing more than a commercial holiday now. I mean, I think it comes down to the individual though. If that's what you're focusing on, then sure. It certainly can be, right? I mean, it's hard to deny that, but it comes down to an individual. I mean, it certainly can be nothing more than a commercial holiday if you push Christ out of it, and then you're all about what are people getting me and what am I gonna buy other people in stores and shopping and money and stores and more gifts and gifts. But it's an individual mindset. If you choose not to focus on those things, then it's not a commercial holiday. If you choose to focus more on God and Jesus, then all the gifts involved, then it doesn't have to be a commercial holiday. So it's hard to argue that one to everyone, right? Because you don't know what's in their mind, but I do argue that it really does come down to you as an individual and where your heart's at and where your mindset's at. All right, so reason number 2, the argument that Jesus was not born on December 25th.
See, don't you think it's weird that we celebrate Christmas on December 25th? I mean, that's not even when Jesus was born. No, for sure, you're totally right. In fact, nobody really knows when the birth of Jesus was. There's a bunch of theories, one of which was that Mary was told she was going to have Jesus on March 25th. So you add 9 months to that and you get December 25th.
And that's just one theory. There's actually a couple of them out there, but let me ask you this question. Does it matter? I mean, honestly, does it really matter? It would be great if we knew, but we don't. So what are you gonna do? We made a date, right? We collectively as Christians, a date was decided, and that's what we go with. You could decide to celebrate it on March 28th if you wanted to, right? That's fine too. Now, before you make the argument as to, well, I choose to celebrate it every day, well, that's great, you should, and we're gonna address that. But let's talk about the third reason first, and that is the fact, this is the one that you probably hear the most, that Christmas is actually nothing more than a pagan holiday.
So lately I've been hearing that Christmas is actually nothing more than a pagan holiday, and we shouldn't celebrate it, and by doing so, we're actually sinning. Dude, there isn't even enough time to unpack all the bad information that goes along with that theory.
This one really is its own whole argument, huge argument that you could just spend multiple videos talking about in and of itself, and we're not gonna do that here. So let me just say, all right, in short, you can actually find a lot of historical documents and theories and arguments to as why this isn't actually true, okay? And when you start to really dig into it, you quickly find that this person's quoting this person, quoting this movie, quoting this book, quoting this person. But when you try and find sources on a lot of that stuff, it doesn't exist because it's almost like these compounded fairy tales, if you will, that have just kind of added up. So if that's you, if you are the person that's like, I'm not gonna celebrate Christmas because I think that it's a pagan holiday, I encourage you to do some research. And I mean real research. Find the sources, look at the arguments, and take it from there. And I can say that a lot of this does come from the Roman celebration of Saturnalia, which, by the way, was December 17 to the 23rd, not December 25th. And like I already mentioned, Christmas is on December 25th, after Saturnalia. So there's, again, all these theories as to why it's on the 25th, but a lot of them have absolutely nothing to do with Saturnalia or the winter solstice or any of that. In fact, I'm gonna put a link in the show notes down below. If you got some time, there's a great YouTube video that I watched that I think you should check out on a pastor kind of talking about this and just dispelling a lot of the rumors. It's long, but it's definitely a good video to check out. So I don't want to burn any more time on this theory, but let me just sum it up with two final things. Number one, if it was, let's just assume it was a pagan holiday, which I don't believe it was, but if that's your theory, it's a pagan holiday, we won. Like, shouldn't we celebrate that? We as Christians won. What was once a bad holiday is now being celebrated by Christians celebrating the birth of Christ. So even if it was pagans celebrating this God over here, it's not anymore. So the bottom line is this. How are you celebrating Christmas? Me? I'm celebrating the birth of Jesus, right? That's where my heart's at, and that's where my mind's at. Even if once upon a time, this was some pagan thing that they were celebrating random gods, I'm not doing that. Are you doing that? I'm certainly not doing that. So if your heart and your mind are on celebrating Jesus for Christmas, I'd argue, how would that be a sin anyway? All right, let's drop the negativity and talk about 5 reasons why you should consider celebrating Christmas if you don't already. Reason number 1 is the excuse to spend time with those that you love. And I know that might be something we always try and do, right? But you can kind of almost hone in on it around Christmas time, right? You get to spend more time around others and celebration and eating and just gathering around a fire, whatever it might be for whatever part of the world you are in. It's just a great opportunity to spend with those that you love. And this isn't even necessarily a Christian one. Reason number 2. It's a time to focus on growing closer to God. Well, I celebrate the birth of Christ every day. That's great. That's great. You should celebrate those things all the time. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's okay to still hone in, to take extra time to celebrate and get closer to God, right? Like, you might clean your house on a regular basis, but then you might still have those times where you're like, all right, today it's spring cleaning and that's what I'm gonna focus on. You can use this time, use the Christmas time to really focus on God. And I think that happens around the world. I truly do believe that Christmas brings people closer to God. Not everybody, but especially those that might not have as strong of a Christian relationship, right? It's an excuse for them. It's a reason to focus on Him more. I think when it comes to that aspect, Christmas is great, okay? Reason number 3 that you should consider celebrating Christmas is it is a great time to give. Now, I know, again, there's gonna be those people out there that are like, I think about giving every day. I'm always giving. You should be giving no matter what time of year it is. I get it, all right? I get it. You're a giver. That's outstanding. You should give. Thank you for doing that. But there's no doubt that the Christmas season brings more people throughout society, at least here in America, giving and thinking of one another. And think of things like the Red Kettlebells, right? So the Salvation Army, and then Toys for Tots. Those programs, they bring in so much around the Christmas time. And then they bring so much joy, like Toys for Tots. You know how many kids that bring smiles to their faces, right? To kids. And Salvation Army, do you know how many people they help in America and around the world? They bring in so much money around the holidays. So there's just no denying that at Christmas time, giving is more prevalent in society. And that's great, right? That doesn't mean you shouldn't give on August 21st, but it's great that it's even focused on more and more people give, and giving is on people's mind. All right, reason number 4, here it is. It is a great time of year to talk with others about Jesus. I'm gonna read this Bible verse, 1 Peter 3:15 through 16. Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. And if someone asks about your Christian hope, always be ready to explain it, but do this in a gentle and respectful way. Keep your conscience clear. Then if people speak against you, they will be ashamed when they see what a good life you live because you belong to Christ. Now, I know that we're always supposed to be disciples of God and always should be out trying to talk with people about God, right? But there is no question that Christmas is the perfect time to do it. It's a great time of year. God and Jesus are they're more prevalent in society, making it that much easier to talk about them. And that can be hard, at least for me. Maybe I'm alone here. Maybe that's just, me, and one of my struggles is to talk to people about Christianity in Jesus, especially people that are in no way Christians, right? They don't even necessarily want anything to do with it, but it makes it that much easier that time of year, especially to do it in a gentle and respectful way, just like the verse said that we talked about. And I will say, even though I don't have statistics to back this up on the top of my head, and I'm just gonna make something up, I truly do believe that the Christmas time of year converts a lot of people to Christ. And isn't that great? I mean, that's awesome, right? That's awesome. So that in and of itself is a great reason to celebrate Christmas, because of the people that the holiday seems to bring to Christ, or at least bring into the church, or get people thinking about Jesus. All right, so we've made it to the final reason, the fifth reason, and this isn't an all-inclusive list. There's many more. These are just the 5 I wanted to focus on. The fifth one is it's a time to celebrate the greatest miracle that has ever happened on planet Earth. Think about that. Think about it. It's a time to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, right? Like, that's pretty awesome. And I know people are like, well, Christmas wasn't celebrated in the Bible. And let me just say, as a disclaimer, I think you should always get your information on God and Jesus from the Bible first, right? Like, that's the number one source, not some random thing out there that somebody said once. So I don't want to take that away at all. And you're right, there is no Christmas celebration per se as the holiday in the Bible. But I will say that the birth of Jesus Christ was celebrated in the Bible. It might not have been Christmas, but his birth was celebrated. Luke chapter 2, verse 20 says, "The shepherds went back to their flocks, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen. It was just as the angel had told them." And that's only one verse. There's all sorts of areas in the New Testament where you can tell they're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, right? In the manger scene, the nativity scene, like, we know that. Wise men show up, right? So they're glorifying and praising the birth of Jesus Christ. So like I said, those are only 5 reasons. There are so many more reasons to celebrate Christmas as Christians, right? But there are definitely many non-Christian things involved with Christmas. And I'm not gonna get into all those, but I will say my old pastor used to have this saying, okay? And it basically was that you could celebrate the holiday or the holy day, right? You can celebrate Christmas and not have anything to do with God if you want. It's just a holiday, right? It's just a holiday. You're gonna give gifts, you're gonna have some laughs, you're gonna do some things you shouldn't do and call it a day. Or you can celebrate the holy day. You could still give gifts. Gifts isn't a sin. Giving is great, right? You could still celebrate the holy day, focusing on God and Jesus and the birth of Jesus. And that's okay. That's great. That's what you should do, right? You shouldn't treat it more like a holiday, but treat it more like the holy day. All right, so I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Click this video up here just to see the most recent video on this channel, or this one down here just to learn a little bit more on what this channel is actually about. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here, and Merry Christmas.